Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. Between the guineas and the pigs, I thought I'd just give you a little taste of what it sounds like before I start talking. What you doing, Mr. Myles? You my buddy today? So I thought today we would do a little bit of an overview on our pigs. You've met them before, you've seen them in their yard, but we haven't really talked about them. I've given you the overview of their stories, the fact that Myles was sort of a true rescue. Myles is this one, and Olive was a little bit less rescue and more purchase. But let's talk about them a little bit. So Olive was the first pig to join our household. She joined us in farm version 1.0, and she was an absolute itty-bitty piglet. For whatever reason, I think once we established that we were going to be a quote-unquote farm with outdoor animals, we went a little nutty. And, you know, to be honest with you, there's tons of videos on the interwebs about pigs and mini pigs and adorable little potbelly pigs and how cute they are and how awesome they are, and how smart they are and how much fun they are. So what the heck? We decided we needed a pig in our lives. And the plan was the pig was going to be an indoor pig, living with us in the house, as many potbelly pigs do. And she was going to essentially just be another dog, right? And we got her as a piglet from a farm that, you know, wasn't breeding for genetics. And obviously, as you look at her, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You know, they were just backyard breeding piglets. And we didn't know a lot at the time, but what I did know, and will reiterate probably 100 times during this video, is that there is no such thing as a mini or a teacup pig. Pigs take upwards of 3 years to reach full maturity, their full size, I should say, without being fat, right? So their full height, their full length, their full girth takes about 3 years. But they can start having their own piglets at 6 months. And that's what many of the mini pig / teacup pig breeders do, is they start breeding their effective piglets as soon as they're able to. And so these babies are having babies. And of course, that means that everybody looks really small, and then they grow. I mean, Olive is probably pushing about 90 pounds, and she is a very small potbelly pig. She is a full-blown potbelly. There's nothing mixed with her. There are different types of pigs, but Olive is a potbelly. And she's an old lady at this point, and she's starting to sport her summer cut, which essentially means she drops every bit of hair off her body, except for the little tiny mohawk on her head. And it's funny because it starts at the top and she will drop it from top to bottom. So you can see the demarcation line of where she's dropped her hair on the top and hasn't quite dropped it on the bottom. But by the end of summer, she'll be completely bald except for the mohawk on her head. And then it'll grow back for the winter. So like I said, she's about 90 pounds. She lived in our house for the first 5 years of our lives. She housebroke herself in about 10 seconds. Pigs are extremely smart. She didn't require any training. She saw that the dogs went outside to potty, and she instinctively went out to potty. Pigs are naturally clean, despite their reputation for pigsties and mud puddles and everything. They're actually a naturally clean animal, and they don't want to go to the bathroom in what they consider their house. Which, you know, she first started as a crate, but also became our house. Pigs have a tremendous amount of memory. They don't forget anything, no matter how many years have gone by. So she quickly learned where food was, learned how to open cabinets, learned how to open the fridge. If we walked into the kitchen, you would hear the pitter patter of hooves from wherever she was in the house because she knew the kitchen was food. So there was, no trick in her. And we did all the good things that piggy parents do. We gave her a rooting box. That means a big sandbox size thing full of, we used small rubber plastic balls, but things for her to dig in, to forage for treats, to, do that instinctive natural behavior. So once we had Olive established, and she was really quite an easy pig, frankly, right? She, like I said, she housebroke herself. She was perfectly fine going in and out of the house with the dogs in the dog yard. The dogs didn't mind her. I have tons of pictures of her and the dogs sleeping together on beds. She absolutely loved to bury herself in blankets. But we decided, even though she's really good friends with the dogs and the cats and they sleep with each other, she needed a piggy buddy because, piggy buddies snuggle together. It's just a different experience when you have someone of your own species. Enter Myles. Myles came to us as a true rescue. So a call went out from Pig Placement Network, which is a pig rescue group. And he was on the docket to be euthanized because, unfortunately, his owner was moving, couldn't take him with her. At that time, we didn't know what he was. We knew that he was a pig, and we knew he was approximately the same age as Olive at the time, which was about 1.5 years, 2 years old. So we went ahead and said, we'll take him sight unseen. We drove about 1.5 hours or so to where his owner was. We were able to get a little bit more of his backstory. So he was purchased at a livestock auction. And unfortunately, as much as his owner loved him, and I want to reiterate this, his owner loved him tremendously. But she wasn't prepared and educated appropriately. So, the education she received was the same nonsense you read on the internet. Don't feed them so they don't grow. And, if you keep them, with just a little bit of food every day, they won't get big and they won't get huge. And, he's a small stature pig to begin with. He's a little bit smaller than Olive. So he's probably about 85 pounds to her 95 pounds, but they're about the same size. He's a Potbelly Juliana mix. That's why his nose is longer. It's why he stands a little bit differently. But the other thing that happened with Myles is that Myles was never allowed outdoors because after his owner got him, his owner determined that he was not actually legal to have where they were. And so he stayed hidden inside, which meant he never got sunlight. And he was being malnutrition, or he was getting malnutritioned because he wasn't being fed enough to grow appropriately. And again, thankfully, pigs grow for 3 full years. So when we got him at 1.5 years, he was in terrible shape. He was emaciated. His bone structure was, bowed. His legs were not straight or correct. When we took him to the vet was like, I don't know if you're going to be able to fix this pig. Just do the best you can and, give him quality of life until the pain from his assumed arthritis to come, based on the way his legs and joints were at the time, we'll have to make decisions at that point. And so that's what we did. We took him home. He became another indoor-outdoor pig, meaning that he was inside like the dogs, lived in the house with Olive, but he got a lot of time out in the yard. And that made a huge difference for him. He rebounded incredibly fast, faster than we thought he would, faster than the vet thought he would, and better than the vet thought he would. Like, we didn't think we'd have him very long just based on quality of life. And, you look at him now, he's a happy pig. His legs straightened out. His back still has a little sway in it, but, who doesn't, right? And he's got a giant potbelly right now because, yes, he's part potbelly and he's eating all that fresh grass outside in his pasture. So we were very lucky in that sense. He was already housebroken. He was housebroken a little bit differently because he didn't go outside. He was housebroken to a litter box, and you can imagine the size of the litter box you needed for this pig. So we had to transition him to that, but he picked that up very quickly. Again, pigs are super smart. And of course, he picked up all the bad habits from Olive about running into the kitchen, opening cabinets, etc. So when we moved to Farm 2.0 and we were customizing and building and making decisions about the barn, the pastures, the fences, we decided that the pigs would actually be happier, even though they loved being inside with us and they enjoyed being with the dogs, and the dogs and cats actually enjoyed being with them. They would be happier to be outside full time as long as we could give them the proper environment, right? So, and that's what we set out to do. So they were about 5 years old when they moved outside full time, and they never missed a beat. If I brought them in the house, they would absolutely recognize without hesitation that there's a fridge. They would know what to do, and they would start opening cabinets looking for treats. Look at piggy tushes. Piggy tushes are the cutest things ever. Just saying. But anyway, so they would absolutely remember everything about their 5 years in the house, but they never looked back, right? They relished their free time, their freedom, their ability to sleep where they wanted, nap where they wanted, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the indoors. They don't have any problems with hot or cold. We adjust their bedding as necessary. We provide everything they need for them in that sense. And they are now 13 years old each and going strong. Pigs can live a really long time as well. So that's another consideration when you talk about the commitment to pigs. And, you know, they're happy out here. As they get older, I always keep an eye on their body condition. Olive is chubby and Myles is on the chubbier side. But, you know, as they get older and into their senior years, we'll continue to monitor their body condition and make adjustments as necessary to make sure that they're comfortable, happy, that they don't have to, you know, have any challenges in enjoying their quality of life. So that's a long-winded way of introducing you to Myles and Olive, our pigs. And just a reminder, again, I kind of said I would say it a couple times. These guys are remarkably small for their breeds, not through anything that we did or did not do. We got lucky, frankly. We were lucky with Olive just based on how we picked her. So that was really just luck of the draw in terms, I mean, she could have ended up being a 150-pound pig easily. And we were semi-lucky with Myles in the sense that, you know, his growth was stunted. And it was stunted due to nutritional deficiencies. So even though we've, you know, got him all fixed up and made him all better, he didn't get to his full potential size. So if you're thinking about pigs, a couple of considerations. One, they get a lot bigger than you think they do. Two, they live a lot longer than you think they do. 20 years is definitely not unheard of. In fact, it's expected. And three is that they're smarter than you think they are. So smart. And they will outsmart you at every step of the way. So you need to be prepared for that as well when you own pigs. I hope you are having a fabulous day wherever you are in this world. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, be kind, and thank you for being a part of my community. We'll talk to you at the next one. Bye for now.